Hello and welcome to Convinced Catholicism, a place for all things Catholic. Today I have a rather interesting book for you. Just as a heads up, this is not a Roman Catholic book, though it is Western Rite Orthodox. And I do want to make the point that in the eyes of the Catholic Church, in the eyes of the Catechism, the Orthodox Church, Eastern or Western, has valid rites. So this does have some fruit. This does have a lowercase o Orthodox content in it, right? And this is the St Melangell or St Melangell prayer book by Lepus Press. Okay, this is a Lulu print-on-demand publication. So this will never go out of print per se, right? And it is produced by the Church of St Melangell. And there are things I like about it. There are things that I don't like about it. But we can get started with that in a moment. This is, the dimensions are 6.5 inches wide, 9.5 inches tall, and then an inch thick. All right, so this is not a portable prayer book. This is meant to be, at a icon corner. It's meant to be at a table by your armchair. It's meant to be placed at a place of prominence in your home. This is very much supposed to be a family prayer book. And I'll show you kind of what I mean by that. Right, so here we are, St. Melangell Prayer Book, a manual of Western Orthodox devotion. I would say it's a little bit more than a devotional book. This has limited coverage. I've seen Dale in a tin can talk about this, and I've seen Orthodox Review talk about this. So thank you to those two for bringing this to my attention. And we can see here, Lepus Press. And we can see that this is designed to emphasize people from a English, French, German, Spanish, and Northern Italian ancestry, and Irish as well, okay? So this is trying to emphasize that there is Orthodox belief throughout the world, and each ethnic group can celebrate, I hesitate to say should, but can celebrate their own flavor of Orthodox Catholic Christianity. We can see that this pulls from a large number of sources. We can see that the Gospel and Psalm texts are from the translation of Lazarus Moore. Old Testament is from the St. Athanasius Academy Septuagint. New Testament is from the King James Version. And then we also see Orthodox prayers from Old England, which is an attempt to bring a Western Rite Orthodox English translation of the Psalm use. The Psalm use is the rite that originated in England and was in use in England up until 1549. And then there's some restoration here and there of it. We can see here the Antiphonary of Bangor, which is in Ireland. Ancient Collects and Other Prayers, Rite of Gauls, which would be France, Spain, Germany, that sort of area. Gaul is mainly around France. And then we have Lectio Divina, etc., etc. Right? And then this is something interesting. The Temporale owes much to the daily postings of hero monk Ambrose Mooney in the Yahoo groups of days gone by. Gratitude is owed to all those who trialed the offices of morning and evening prayer and offered feedback. So this is, that's interesting. ways of prayer, morning prayer, evening prayer, compline. And then we have some other interesting things here. We have domestic customs, which I'll go over. We have the Divine Liturgy according to St Germanus. We have these indices and appendices, which have hymns and music and so on and so forth. So I'll go over a few things in this book here, and I'll give you what I like about it and what I don't like about it. Okay, so the forward introduction. They explain why the Western Orthodox Church exists and who founded this, or who is responsible for directly, or who is in line, which saint ended up being responsible indirectly for the creation of this parish. And we have nice color iconography. This is St. John of Saint Denis, or Saint Denis, depending on whether there's an accent there or not. This is an Orthodox saint. This is not in the Catholic calendar of saints. He died somewhere in the 1970s, I believe. So he would not have been recognized as a Catholic saint. Have some nice iconography here. So way of prayer, there's spoken, antiphonal chanting. We have the sign of the cross, standing, bows, prostration, kisses, veneration, orans, which is the hands that the priests make during the Eucharistic prayer, so on. Right? So that's ways of prayer. Now, here we have the morning. I'm going to show you the morning, evening, and compline. This is very much emphasizing the function and purpose of the domestic church. Husband, wife, and children praying together in a liturgical manner. We can see here that there are options with essentially a rubric here, very brief, it's a page long, and we can see here that it discusses what may or may not be said, or if you want to take this away, go ahead. If you want to add this in, go ahead. And then we have the instructions with the cross. Then there's this red, do the red, say the black. And then we have this encouragement to chant the office. So we have the notation for each of these verses, essentially. And then we have the option to either sing the Ambrosian hymn, Now That the Daylight Fills the Sky, or the Veni Creator Spiritus. And then we have the notation for the Amen, Alleluia. Then I really like this about the book. The psalmody, you sing one psalm per day. So it being Thursday, when I upload this, and in fact film it, you would find yourself chanting or saying Psalm 142. Right, we can see the different psalms in here. Then there would be a short responsory with the music. And then we have these different readings depending on what season you're in. The creed notice here. And this is neither exclusively Orthodox or non-Catholic, because there are plenty of Catholics that do not have the Filioque in their creed, including Byzantine Catholics. We see here who proceeds from the Father rather than who proceeds from the Father and the Son. Then we see here, or before that, we see the Gospel, right? The Gospel of the day may be read. See the lectionary for the current year. If you are going to buy this from Lulu, you can just read the Gospel of the day from the Mass. Then we have the Trisagion prayer, the Our Father, who I think this is a horrible translation. Well, not horrible. I don't know much about translating from Aramaic to Hebrew to Greek to Latin to English, but it's jarring. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done, as in heaven, so on earth. Give us today our supersubstantial bread, and and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Save us from falling into temptation, and deliver us from evil. For to you belong the kingdom and the power and the glory to the ages of ages. Amen. That is really jarring. And then we have the collect, closing, and then a final antiphon, which is, at least to my knowledge, unusual for a morning office. A final antiphon to the Holy Theotokos, or to the Blessed Virgin Mary, is typically done at evening or at night prayer. But we can get back to that later. Evening prayer. Now this is really cool. We have the last gospel here, and then this would be part of a lamp lighting. Okay, so this would be a lamp lighting, but also we have this lamp lighting song here, Phosileron, or gladsome light or joyous light, very famously introduced into the Western Church by John Keble, part of the Anglican Oxford movement, and has then become part of the Catholic tradition via the personal ordinariate. This, however, is very Byzantine, and we'll make a note about how Byzantine this book actually is, instead of being a purely Western book. So we have, and this is optional according to the rubric. Then we have the opening office hymn, O God, creator of the skies. And then we have two psalms really here. So option for hymns. Evening prayer is Psalm 103, broken up for different days of the week. So you would pray these three verses of the psalm here. And then you would get to a lesson here, and then you would get into into Psalm 140. Let my prayer arise before you like incense, and the lifting up of my hands be an evening sacrifice. Trisagion, Our Father, Collect, closing, and then compline is very similar to the traditional compline that you would see. Okay, then we have prayers for various needs. Okay, so we have these different collects here, or arrow prayers, whatever you want to call it. Notice that it's from a variety of sources. We have Ireland, we have Spain, we have from England, we have from the Sarum Missal, right? We have from the monastic diurnal, which would have been Benedict, which would have been Monte Cassino, Italy, right? We have the Lorica, or the breastplate of St. Patrick, which is an amazing prayer. Absolutely beautiful. It gives me goosebumps just thinking about how beautiful the prayer is. Northern Italy, Milan, etc., etc., right? The idea here is to emphasize Western European prayer, right? And then we have these different prayers and icons and so on, right? So I'm going to move over to so let's do the domestic traditions, right? So domestic customs 117. Right, this is really trying to emphasize the Western European home church. We have the 11th of November, Martinmas and lanterns. Christmas festivities from December 25th to 5th of January. We could see the different examples here: nativity scene, mince pies, decorations, etc. St. John's wine, blessed chalk. Orthodox Review did not know about blessed chalk, and I just always knew about it, and I didn't grow up in a very traditional Roman Catholic parish at all, and we chalked our door. I'm surprised he did not know about blessed chalk. And he grew up Catholic and converted to Episcopalianism, so surprised he didn't know about it. Galette de Roi, or I would guess that's like King's Cookies. Yeah, it is basically King's Cookies, galette de rye, right? Pardon my French pronunciation. St. Bridget's Cloak, Candlemas, Mardi Gras, Paschal festivities, soul cakes, Dormition herbs, etc., etc. Lezio Divina, made very popular by Ignatius of Loyola. Not necessarily going to go into that. I want to show you some more of the unique aspects of this. So let me show you the liturgy. The liturgy of St Germanus. Now, I'm not a liturgical expert, but I feel that this has been adapted by the Byzantine rite. I don't feel that this is maybe necessarily the original Gallican Mass, but you can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I feel like the concept of a deacon giving these commands, arise, silence, let us be attentive, is extremely Byzantine. I go to the Byzantine Catholic Church and I hear wisdom, let us be attentive. I mean, I don't go as of recently, but when I did go, I'll never forget, wisdom, let us be attentive. Let us keep silence. And then Agios o Theos, Holy God, Holy Mighty. To me, that doesn't make much sense. Kyrie in Greek, that's kind of been always the case in the Western Church, as far back as at least, the Tridentine Mass. And then we have the reading from the prophets, the Benedicite, Canticle of the Apocalypse, Litany. Let us say with our whole hearts, our mind, and our spirit, let us, Lord, have mercy upon us. This is very Byzantine to me. The Hospodi Pomiloi, or the Lord have mercy, or the Kyrie eleison. Grant this, O Lord. I can't help but think that this is the equivalent of what many Byzantine Catholics argue about, which is a Latinization. We also have the Mass of the Faithful. Lavabo and diptychs are more Western, but this all feels very anaphras, mercy, peace. A sacrifice of praise is very Byzantine. The kiss of peace between priests is very Byzantine, etc., etc. And so I can't help but this was overcorrected to form. But I don't think I'll be attending a Gallican rite anytime soon due to scarcity. But this is the St. Melangell prayer book. What are things I like about it? What are things I don't like about it? The Church Fathers, East and West, instruct married couples and their children to keep the domestic church. And to many Catholics, faithful or not, that is hard to visualize. They have trouble figuring out when and how to pray together as a family. This book gives you an excellent, excellent, excellent option for that. To sing together or not, to pray a psalm together, to read the gospel, to read a short passage from scripture together, and to add prayers for various needs and Marian antiphons to that is a beautiful thing, okay? And there are not many things in the way of saints' days here, which is a good thing and a bad thing, I think. I like collects. I would say that 90-ish% of the saints in here are all Catholic saints. I looked at it, and all of them are Catholic, except for the ones that are post-schism. And the post-schism ones, I would say, half of them are not really going to cause too much trouble for veneration. Like St. John of Kronstadt is popular even as a unofficial saint, but there are some that are very clearly, some like Russian bishop, right? Like, for example, and I don't necessarily know where to find it. Okay, yeah, so St. Gregory of Paramala, Bishop of Niranam, 1902. But then, at the same time, St. Gregory Palamas is a church, is a saint in the greater, wider Catholic Church under the Pope, under the see of the Pope, right? I think that this offers a great opportunity to pray as a domestic church, right? One psalm per day, reading the gospel together. That's awesome. What I don't like about this book is the translation, right? I think that the creed is fine. I don't think it's horrible. This is so jarring. And another thing I don't like about it is, and again, the Byzantine Catholics, both Ruthenian and Melkite, Ukrainian, etc., don't appreciate, and they've gotten rid of a lot of them, the quote-unquote Latinizations of their prayer and liturgy. It wasn't so long ago, maybe about 20, 30 years ago, there are people alive that remember this, that you would see dedications to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, how to pray the Rosary, images that are clearly Western in origin, saints that have nothing to do with Byzantium, etc., etc. And you see here what is, in my opinion, an attempt to do the equivalent, a Byzantinization of a Western church. The Psalm rite is pure in itself. It's Orthodox, lowercase o, in itself. The Mozarabic rite is lowercase o, Orthodox, in and of itself. The Ambrosian rite is lowercase o, in and of itself. Benedictine monasticism is lowercase o, Orthodox, in and of itself. And so, if you're really trying to emphasize the Western, the Spanish, the French, the English, the Irish, the German nature of your Catholicism, why innovate with these very clearly the evening prayer with the Fosileron and the Psalm 103 and Psalm 142, that is purely Byzantine. And there's nothing wrong with Byzantine Christianity, but if you are trying to make a Western book, stick to the Western practices. Otherwise, if you are a Catholic and you don't really care much about, and there are no saints' days or saints' colics in here, let me make that clear, right? If you want to pray the psalm as a family, want to pray the psalms, read the gospel, learn how to sing the psalms, etc., this is a great book. I think for a independent Lulu publication, this is incredibly well done. And it's available. The name of the book, again, is the St. Melangell Prayer Book, Lepus Press. If you Google this, you will find the Lulu for it. It comes in hardcover and softcover. And by the way, this is a cloth bound. It's a nice quality cloth bound, and I had no idea that Lulu Print on Demand even did hardback cloth. Kudos to them. And I think this is a great independent publication, and that in part helps explain why there is weird translations in here, copyright protection, etc. But anyway, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, take care, and God bless.